Portia's dead. Yes, Portia died. Sorry, Gracie.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are happy to welcome you back to our live stream. If you have any questions for us, please feel free to add a comment on our live below the live stream. While we are waiting to see any of your comments, I do have a question of mine just to kind of get things started. Of the cast, which of you have read Mark Twain before? So a few of you, about half. Okay. Have any of you read this story before? No? What did you think of it?
I like the concept of it.
Yeah.
I like the storytelling part.
Yeah, I like that it's being told and then acted out.
Okay. Did any of you read the story in addition to the script?
I'm going to try and find it so I can read it.
Okay. I downloaded it from the Gutenberg Project, so I know you can find it there. He's got several short story collections, and it's in multiples of them. I'm trying to pull up any comments that we may have. I'm told that we have one from Chelsea. Oh, there it is. Chelsea Turner is asking, how is a show adapted from a short story different from than one that was from a play? And it's a question for both the cast and for the director. So let's ask the cast first. Having all of you have done plays with us before, how is doing a short story different than doing an actual play?
It feels like the characters have more like in depth because there's a story first.
Yeah. Grace, go ahead.
It's not a whole lot different in my opinion, just because it's characters in a story that you're acting out, but it did seem to have more details and depth to the characters.
It gives the characters personality.
Yeah, and then it's easier for you to guess what to portray them as because you get more of a background story of what they are.
Okay.
It's also a lot easier because it's short story, so it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
From my standpoint, and pardon me if I'm a little distracted, I'm changing everyone's names back.
Hey,
from my standpoint, I've been adapting a number of scripts lately for the Quarantine Theater series. This is the first time that I started with something that wasn't a play, and it was actually pretty challenging for me. I wound up having to dramatize a lot of it, and trying to write new material in someone else's voice is challenging. It was a new experience for me. I hope I did well, but if there were places in it where it felt like, ooh, that doesn't sound like Twain, that was probably my fault. Does anyone else have thoughts on doing a short story versus a play like this? No? I guess another question. This piece wound up being a little bit shorter. I was actually expecting it to be even 15 minutes shorter than it was. Do you like the shorter time frame, and this is a question for our audience as well. Did you guys like the shorter time frame, or do you think that the hour and a half that we normally went for is better?
I like them both. I don't really care about length. I don't have anything else better to do. So the length doesn't matter necessarily to me.
Yeah, I'm cool with them.
Yeah, I feel like as long as the story's told and that you get a feel for all of the characters, it really doesn't matter the length.
As long as we can portray the story to its fullest, time doesn't matter.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, well said.
I like the shorter ones just because there's less lines, so you can put more effort and
Yeah.
time into those lines and getting them.
I do have to say, having listened to it and read it several times now, I really did like this adaptation, and I think I may work with it more to try and make an actual stageable version of it. I think putting it on stage, there's too much of the narrator right now. So I would need to cut some of the narrator out of it and simplify some of the language.
Yeah, he does have really lengthy lines.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A few more questions have come in. One from Liberty, one from Amber Hutch. And this one is specifically for Gabe. Normally you aren't an actor. Why did you choose to start acting in the quarantine theater productions?
Because he wants to overshadow me.
Right on stage, and so this is a good start.
Okay. Actually, could you say that again? We lost most of it.
I've always wanted to try on stage acting, and I'm not exactly afraid of the stage. I just like the tech better, but I was willing to try this and have found interest in doing it.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I myself am primarily a technician. Anyone who knows me, I am a technician first. But I do get enjoyment out of the performance side. I've really started getting enjoyment out of directing. So I do encourage you to pursue that. One second. We've had a few more come in. I need to remember how to spell Sarah's name. So give me 1 second. And I believe I've corrected everyone except myself, and no one needs to know who I am. We had a comment come in from Catherine Vansel. Is it possible to do an animation type play with voices or a voiceover play? I personally don't have the skills to do animation, but I have looked at doing some radio plays. So that might be something that would be interesting, where we would just have one image the whole time and it's just the voices. So Catherine or anyone else, if you're interested in that, let us know, because there are some nice radio plays that might work in this orientation. Brad Henderson says, you all did great. How many of you are active in your school theater, and do any of you have aspirations of writing or directing? Do the first part first. How many of you are active in your school theater?
I'm in college.
She can still answer.
You can still answer. Okay, so pretty much everybody.
Lilibeth, why didn't you raise your hand?
Well, I mean, I'm not doing theater right now, except for here, so
Well,
technically
you
I'm not
were.
doing anything. Well, I was, but not right now. It says active. So
None of us
right
are
now,
because school is canceled.
well, some
Actually-
people might. Like, I'm pretty sure high school is. Well, some of
IQ
them
200.
is.
Second part of the question. Do any of you have aspirations of writing or directing in the future?
I'd love to direct a little show.
Yeah.
I actually am going to be director for Theater for a Cause this year. All you guys should come check it out in February.
Do you know what your show is yet?
No, it hasn't been confirmed, so I don't want to say anything.
I understand that. Licensing being what it is, you can't talk about it till you're approved. Well, I look forward to that. I will certainly come to see it, Arden.
Thank you.
Um,
I'd rather just stick to acting in the future.
you're gonna stick to
Yeah.
acting?
Yeah, too much pressure to write and direct and be the boss of other people, even though I already am. But...
Doug Sokolovsky asks, how much have each of you enjoyed this outlet?
Yeah.
It's
I like being
different
able
than
to-
being on stage, but it's fun.
I like being able to connect with other people that I didn't know as much. Like, I didn't know half of the people on this screen right now. So,
One of the things that I have always enjoyed about theater is that it brings a large, varied group of people together.
Yeah.
You've got people who socially would never meet,
oh, yeah.
and yet you bring them into a show and all of a sudden they become fast friends. It's one of the best things about theater for me. Kelly Rogers is asking, will these continue over the summer? So I will say we are planning on doing some more of these. Our junior theater virtual workshops are starting soon, and that may slow down the how often they are, so we may not be able to maintain every week. This one, we even tried it with a more condensed schedule than normal. Most of these we've done with 4 rehearsals and we perform on a Saturday. This one, we actually only had 2 rehearsals.
Yeah.
Which, as a director, I feel we needed more rehearsal, but directors always feel that you need more rehearsal, so that's nothing new. But if they continue to be popular, then we probably will continue to keep doing pieces. I've got 4 directors lined up for some more of them, so keep an eye out.
If there's anything anybody would like to see, let us know.
If there is anything that anyone would like to see, please let us know, either in the comments section on one of these or just contact us directly. Anyone in the cast, do you have any questions either for me or for any of your castmates?
Carl, have you enjoyed having to be on the technical side of putting this all together and making us go live?
As I said, I am a technician first, so getting into the nuts and bolts of how things work always appeals to me.
I like this over problem.
As you may be able to hear my wife in the background, she is making fun of me. So yes, but the flip side is it feels a lot like TV, and I'm a theater person, and so there's a bit, it's a different learning curve, and I've got to find a different mind frame for it. So Chase, to answer your question, yes, I have enjoyed it. It's stretched me in new ways.
I have a question for your wife, Carl.
Okay. Yes.
Amber, how have you enjoyed the play or experienced the play from your end? Because you're on you're seeing both the director's point of view and the audience's point of view.
My reality is about to split, so everyone knows.
So can you repeat that?
How have you how is it a different experience from your point of end or your point of view from both a director and an audience member?
It's kind of, I don't know how to answer that question. It's hard for me because now when I watch theater in any sort of way, whether it's theater like this or theater in a real theater, I don't watch it just as an audience member anymore. And especially now, because I'm trying to keep track of it on another computer to make sure it's still playing. So there's a lag between what I'm seeing and you guys, because I can hear you live.
Yeah, for anyone that hasn't dealt with live streams before, there's about a minute lag. And it can be very distracting if you're trying to monitor what you're doing.
Yeah, so it's been but this whole process has been very educational in a lot of ways, and it was also nice to see plays that we had done on a stage now taken into this new reality that we have. So I liked seeing witches again when we did it this way. But
Yeah, I really enjoyed seeing some of the old scripts come back. Reminded me how good those experiences were.
and I'm currently adapting something for this, which is way different than writing something for the stage, because you've lost all of your movement and everything that you would normally write into a script. And so that's been very hard for me.
Yeah, true. We have another question here. This one is from our own Lilibeth Sokolovsky. This is a good question. And this is going to be for everyone. Everyone should chime in on this. How has theater changed you as a person? And I will answer this one first while everyone else gets a chance to think about it. Theater literally changed who I am as a person. When I was in high school, I did theater for fun. I was a technician. I ran lights and sound. It very much appealed to the tinkering nature of my brain. And so when I went to college, I went for math education and computer science. Halfway through my first semester, I started volunteering in the scene shop on campus. The next summer, I actually volunteered again for the summer theater production that happened at UCM. And I got involved with, I met a director named Ron Meyer, who has sort of become one of my, I don't want to say mentors, but I very much use him as a role model for how to be a good director. And after that first summer, I found myself completely as a volunteer, working myself sick every day, and I absolutely loved it. And so theater, it changed who I was. I became the person who got to play every day.
He would work at the scene shop for like 6 hours and then come home to do his calculus homework.
Yeah. Grace.
For me, theater has done a lot. I was really more introverted before this. And so this is, like you said, this has really changed me as a person, personality-wise. It's also a really good like stress reliever, because I can go on stage and be a completely different person for a little bit, and it's really nice.
Good. Anyone else have an answer to that? Madison, go ahead.
Theater for me was a thing that I was going to do at some point and got scared and walked away from it. And then I came back to it a year later and it completely changed my perspective, because I was very nervous to go and show myself to other people, because I'm naturally introverted. Have never really had very many friends. And when I did theater, it introduced me to all these new people, and I got to meet all of these new people and become friends with all of these new people. And it just opened up my world to so many new different personalities that I had never seen before.
Cool. Lilibeth. It was your question, so.
Yeah. Well, before theater, this is like way back in 5th grade. If I never started theater, there's a lot of things that I would not be doing right now. Like my friend Savannah, she's here right now. She actually convinced me to start doing show choir too. So that would not be in my life right now.
That's true. Yeah.
And before I started theater, I was terrified to talk to anybody older than me. I thought they were like the scariest thing in the world. And now lots of my close friends are actually older than me. So, and now I'm a lot busier than I used to be. So
Theater will definitely do that to you. Chase, you raised your hand.
Yeah, theater's just opened a whole new world to me. I came to it thinking, oh, this is something that I probably won't do for very long. But soon as I went to that first rehearsal, I had the best time of my life. I met so many new people and experienced so many new things. It's just went through my mind, and I'm thinking, this is something that I love and would love to continue to do. And here I am, so doing it.
Good. I'm glad. Anyone else? We've got to, before we move on to our next question, Savannah, yes.
So I can't really say how theater fully changed my life, but as becoming a tech person, I can say how it somewhat changed my life. A few years ago, I didn't really start going to set builds until like Alice, I think. And so I really started liking it, and I really became more aware of like how really theater happened and how it took so many people. And now I've come to like set build all the time. Like I make excuses. So I say, y'all, I need to go to set build.
Savannah, you do not need an excuse. You can come by whenever you want. Yeah. Any time, you're welcome.
Okay, I'm going to jump in and answer this question too, because so I'm not, or I wasn't a theater person. Apparently, we all know that has changed. But what I have always done really well is solved problems. Like, this wasn't painted, I need this thing from the store, whatever. And I'm like, I will go do that because I can solve a problem. And so over the years, I learned how to use a drill, and I learned how to paint, and I learned how to build a flat, and all sorts of different things. And then once Carl started doing junior theater, well, then we needed, people to wrangle kids and assorted different things. And then the summer of Mulan, all of a sudden, Miss Lucy needed a costumer, which nobody else volunteered for. So I got thrown into being a costumer. And the point at which I made a Chinese army for $100 and they looked fantastic, you kind of like, I was just like, this is amazing. And now seeing how things go from the very, very first day of rehearsal to the end product is fantastic for me. And this is going to sound really cheesy, and I'm sorry for that, but you guys are so amazing. And I feel I've always been a mama hen, a mother hen, and now I have like all my little chicklets running around that I get to take care of. And I don't know, it's just so great seeing what theater has done for you guys.
I agree with that. Sarah, yes.
Sorry, I just want to chime in really quickly. Like, I know that like going with a lot of people, I was really introverted, and that like theater just opened up a lot of possibilities for me. I always knew that I wanted to do it as like a hobby, but I never knew that I wanted to do it like further on. And like, like people don't really think it's a career, but it really is, and that you can do a lot with it. And like just saying, theater also like got me glasses, because my director noticed that one time I was just like squinting at everybody, so he was like, you should get some glasses. So yeah,
I wouldn't have gotten my job without theater.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear from everyone. So a few more comments. Doug Sokolowski wanted to say great job again to everyone. So Doug, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Catherine Vansel said, standing ovation for all of you, and for Carl and Amber for taking the time to do this for our youth, our community, and our lives. Catherine, thank you. I'm very glad that you enjoyed the production, and I have to say, my experience with the junior theater means the world to me. So thank you for giving me the opportunity. And then another good question from Madison Phillips. And we may end it on this one. And Madison, I think I may make you answer it first. How has performing on a live stream through Zoom versus performing on stage benefited you as an actor and been different for you? So I guess the first question is, how has this format benefited you when thinking about using it on stage? Grace, you actually raised your hand. So no, oh no, it's from earlier. Sorry, I haven't lowered it yet. There you go. Madison, go ahead.
Okay, so this has benefited me because it's solely based on lines and not necessarily the performing art of it. So I can solely focus on getting my lines right and diction and things like that, so then I can say things better because words are hard.
Yeah, and especially dealing with something like Twain, there's a lot of unusual turn of speech and
it being so old.
Yeah. Okay. And how's it been different for you?
It's been different for me because I'm sitting here in a chair looking at people and not being around people. So I don't have a physical person to look at to be emotional towards. So I guess it's been a little strange, I guess.
Okay.
To not be looking at the person or that person being in front of me.
I know for me, performance is always about feeding off of the energy of the person that I'm performing with, my scene partner, and not having that is always challenging. Even as when I'm running lights, I feel like I'm feeding off of the energy of the cast, and so my timing is based off of their timing, and without that, it's like I said earlier, I've got to get myself in a different headspace to make it work. Any other thoughts? Anyone else want to chime in on this one? No? Madison, I will say I think this has made me better as a director because it's forcing me to really drill into the language more. So agreeing with what you were saying, everything is 100% about the language now. And so you can't explain things with movements or, subtle looks between two actors. It all has to come from the words. Anyone else?
For me personally, I don't really think it's it's kind of benefiting me, but it also kind of makes me feel less emotional towards things. Like how you guys said that you pull emotions from other people, but I'm having a hard time doing that sometimes. So sometimes I just don't think it's helping too much, but
That's understandable.
It's understandable. Well, I think we'll call it quits on that. Our live stream has been going just about 30 minutes. I personally want to thank all of you for taking part in the show. It meant a lot to me that you jumped on as quickly as you did. Oh, wait, Grace, you did raise your hand again this time. Did you mean to? No? Okay, never mind. I'll lower it. There we go. So to all of our audience that has stayed with us, thank you. We're about to call it quits for the live stream for tonight. If you would like to watch this again, it will be available on Facebook, and we are also putting them on our YouTube channel. So please go over there, look for Liberty Center Association for the Arts. All of our quarantine theater episodes are currently up, and this one will be shortly. Thank you, everyone. Have a very wonderful evening.